Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So on this video, it's going to be part 2 of the gearbox swap. So we're going to be chucking a GS6 37DZ in our E36 drift car. So the plan for this video is basically going to be to pull the engine. So we're just going to get started. We don't need to actually pull the engine to swap the gearbox. You can just do it with it in the car. We're just going to do it anyway because we need to do the sump gasket and a few other bits and bobs on the engine. Figured it's just a good thing to be able to pull it and show you a bit better what's actually happening and the differences rather than being under the car and it's all really hard to get space, that sort of thing. So yeah, plan of attack for this video is going to be to pull the engine. Obviously we're just going to take the front end off. With an E36 you can basically just take the whole front end off, have the exposed frame rails, and then you just basically pull the engine straight out. Don't need to worry about hitting the radiator or radiator support or anything like that. So yeah, we'll get cracking. I'm just going to jack the car up and we'll start by doing the exhaust, and then we'll get cracking on the headlights, front end, all that sort of stuff. Let's get it. All right, so the car is in the air. I tried to get it as high as possible on the front, and hopefully we don't have to jack up the back because we do have to get to undo the drive shaft, which is here. We'll need to take the whole drive shaft out. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to get to the drive shaft bolts here. And also the exhaust as well is about here in the car. If not, we'll just have to jack up the rear, is what it is. Yeah, so now we've got the car up. Plan is gonna be to get rid of the X-brace, remove the X-brace and the bar that goes across like that. And then we'll be able to drop down the exhaust. And that should be most of the stuff under here. There's a heat shield on top of the exhaust as well. Then we can get to the drive shaft and gearbox mount. That should be all that we have to do up under their car. Sorry about the delay in making this video. I actually cut the tip of my finger off, which is a real pain in the ass, and basically it was having trouble healing, couldn't really do anything on the car. And then also to top things off, one of the handbrake shoes on the 36 came loose because one of the clips that was holding it in just yeeted itself off. I'll throw up a photo, but yeah, I had to basically redo all the handbrakes in the rear of the car and also did the trailing arm bushings while I was there because they were pretty flogged out. But yeah, that's why I've been taking a while to make this video, but we're back here now. We're gonna smash it out today and hopefully get the gearbox swap back on track. So yeah, we'll get cracking. All right, so I've just skipped a few steps there. It was really hard to film, but just taking the exhaust off, managed to undo it from where the muffler is, pop it off the middle rubber mounts, then pop it off the header. I did have to just loosen this header a little bit, just because it wasn't coming out nicely. But yeah, I'm gonna try to just leave the exhaust in its entirety under the car. Just push the side, just makes it a lot easier for myself. Don't have to mess around pulling it out just to put it back in. And it should be out of the way, fingers crossed. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is just work on the rear section there now. Probably won't be able to film much, but I'm just gonna get the brace out the transmission tunnel and get that heat shielding as well out so we can access the drive shaft and stuff. And that should be all under the car for now. Also, a super duper important step you don't want to forget is to disconnect your battery. We're just going to pop off the the positive terminal. That way when we undo all the alternator, we're not going to short out or anything like that. So not sure how much you can see, but down the back there's no more center brace, there's no more heat shield, the drive shaft's fully exposed. So when the time comes, we can just undo the drive shaft from there and the engine and stuff will be all good to go. You can see the reason we want to do the sump gasket is we're clearly leaking around here. Not a good sign. Quite a lot of oil, as you can see. But yeah, hopefully we're just going to address all the issues, going to redo the sump gasket while the engine's on a stand, so it's really easy to do and can do it right. Use quite a bit of sealant because the sump's probably warped. But yeah, so now we're going to transition to doing the top stuff. Basically, like I mentioned before, we're just going to take the headlights out, take the front end off, all that jazz out, and then we'll have the engine exposed and ready to go. Also, good little tip is just to label the wiring harnesses that go to the horn, indicator, and the fog light, just because the connectors are really similar. They're really easily messed up, and then you'll have the horn going on when you go to blip your window wipers, which has happened to me before. So yeah, we've just got masking tape, labeled them so we won't get them mixed up. And also we're gonna continue with bagging all the bolts so we're not gonna get them messed up or anything like that. So yeah, next thing is just gonna be to pull the bumper off and yeah, start pulling the front clip off. Alright, so the nose cone is out. I'm just going to be really careful with storing that one because they can bend really easily. They are actually pretty pricey to replace, so just be super careful with that one. Now we'll just start taking out the rad support, a couple zip ties here for the wiring harness. The actual latches will come out as well, and we can get this fan shroud, I guess, out. And then yeah, we're well on the way. Front end is off, so now we have really good access to do everything on the engine bay. Obviously the first thing is going to be to remove this radiator. We've still got coolant in the engine, so we'll have to drop that first. Plan of attack is just going to be to undo the radiator drain here and then undo the bottom drain from the expansion tank. Hopefully we'll be able to not make a mess. I'm going to keep it in real time so you can capture me making a mess and putting coolant all over the floor in all its glory. So yeah, let's get onto it. All right. Also, the coolant is only like a year old, so we're just going to reuse it. Don't really want to be wasting it. It's still pretty good. So yeah, like I said, we'll just undo this bad boy and it's going to make an absolute mess. It might not even drip out until I do the oopsies. Until I undo this. Just gonna slowly do it because it's probably gonna rush out. Oh, there we go. We'll see. We'll inspect the coolant. If it looks too manky, we'll just replace it. Like, yeah, not much we can really do. Oh, okay. I'll just snip the zip ties on my amazing holder for the coolant expansion tank. All right, shroud is loose. Let's not loosen those things. Whoopsies. Like I said, captured all in its glory. I didn't think the expansion tank was full of bloody water, but obviously it was. I'd like to just pull that hose out like that. Alright, so update, absolutely made a mess on the floor. The coolant, don't know if I'm gonna reuse that. Kind of looks a bit manky. It's only a couple liters anyway, so we'll probably just throw it out. Yeah, so the next step is going to be to take off the fan. We're gonna need to take off the power steering pump because we're gonna leave the power steering in the car, take off the power steering reservoir. Last time we forgot that on the car, so we don't want to forget it this time, and we actually snapped a power steering line. Don't want to repeat that. Then we got to do fuel lines, and that should pretty much be it. Obviously wiring as well, so we'll undo all the wiring harness, undo some fuse box, and there's a couple of connectors up there. But yeah, we're pretty much well on the way to getting it removed, so we'll crack on. So we skipped a few steps. Really hard to show what's going on down here. You can see drive shafts there. There's the front section. So we just unbolted the center support bearing there. And then we took the guibo off there. And then we also disconnected the shifter linkage up the top there. You can see the shifter there. It's disconnected from the gearbox. And we've also undone the nuts there and there. And then we'll just get ready to take the cross member out when we're good with the engine. But yeah, so yeah, underneath is all done now. Bit of a pain in the ass, had to jack up the rear, just spin the tires for us to access the bolts. But yeah, it's done now. Engine is pretty much ready to go out. Just got to undo the mounts, the 2 mounts there, and she's pretty much ready to lift it out. Just waiting for Pete to come because he's got the engine leveler. And then he'll come give us a hand. Hopefully we'll be able to get it out pretty quickly. Should only take us, hopefully not more than half an hour to an hour, but you know how it goes with these sorts of things. But yeah, I'm just gonna move the car and the bike out of the way and we'll make room to get the engine crane out there. So we've just attached the leveler. She's all good. Hopefully this is the way that will work. Got Pete to help us and we'll just smash this out. Hopefully we'll be able to pull it in like 20 minutes. Hopefully. Alright, so engine is out and obviously on the stand. Not sure how much you were able to see, but pretty much just took the engine out. Having a bit of trouble with this engine mount here. When I made these mounts, these studs on the bolt were a little bit too long, so I just had to basically remove this side. You can see the arm is no longer there on that side of the engine, and then basically that was the only trouble we had. We were able to lift it out, no worries. And yeah, then we just pop the gearbox off, and then we pop the flywheel and a clutch off, obviously just to get it on the stand. We'll also need to replace the clutch disc as well, so we need to get the clutch off anyway. So yeah, she's in now. Just put it in there just to save a bit of space in the garage. But yeah, not bad for one day's work. It's pretty happy with that. Now we'll just start to do a bit of maintenance items on the engine itself. Not sure how much I'll show, and then we'll be able to go into the gearbox pop itself and putting on the new gearbox and all that jazz. If you were playing along and you didn't want to actually just pull the engine, basically what you would need to do is drop the gearbox. So you need to undo the tail shaft, undo the shifter, undo the exhaust, undo all the exhaust heat shielding, and then pretty much undo the bell housing bolts. You need to jack the front of the engine up just to tilt it up a little bit, maybe loosen the engine mounts as well, depending on what kind of engine mounts you have. And then you basically have enough tilt in the engine to get to the top bolts, undo those, slide the gearbox off and drop it out of the car. So we obviously didn't do that because we want to address a few things on the engine, like the sump gasket, and I feel like it's really just good to do it on the engine stand. You can flip the engine over completely and have it flat, and then just be able to put RTB in the right spots. And there's a few other things that we wanted to address as well. So we didn't do that. But yeah, if you're playing along, you can just drop the gearbox itself. You don't have to pull the engine itself. We just figured it'd be a lot easier for showing you guys and just the other things that we wanted to do as well. That's gonna be it for this video. If you get any value out of the video, make sure you chuck it a like, chuck it a subscribe. It's literally free and helps motivate me to make more content. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. Catch you on the next one. See ya.